Welcome back, guys, to the Bear and Scully podcast with me, Sean Scullion, aka Scully. Well, this is the Vegas edition, right? So I had a pause there. Unfortunately, guys, Owen can't make it. Owen got arrested. No, look, he's here. Owen Mahon, aka the Bear, in the Pace Radio behind the scenes. And no guest.
I probably was supposed to be quiet there and fuck that up, but I actually was laughing. Hey, you're as handsome in real life as you are on TV, so you're
Cheers, son.
Great to be here, so it is. Thanks very much for having me on. It's different sitting this side, you know.
So was it I dropped it in there. What's that you have behind you?
My wee first balloon, boys. First birthday. We are one. Some of our podcasts don't come out. They come out like a delay, but we are one this week. And the wee balloon boys.
What are you doing? I was wondering why
Welcome to the Bear and Scully podcast show, baby, with me, the Bear, and Scully over there. Is hearing bad for you or what? Does it fuck about you?
Eating
The face for radio. Oh, hey, I'm coming back. I'm coming.
Don't adjust your radios.
Would you stop sucking that stuff?
As a motherfucker.
Don't adjust your radios, guys.
I was actually wondering why you're bringing the balloon in.
I was like, that'll
Was
be
that
good
your
crack.
plan all along?
Oh, I'm back. I sound like I'm a bit back. But to be fair, we're not. We weren't 100 this week, Sean.
We
This
started
time last
right,
week.
This time last week,
We were flying.
Thursday, right.
Literally were taking off from
Right.
London Heathrow.
So previous to this,
Yeah.
right, we had a plan. The plan was
So before we go there, let's go all the way back. So guys, for some of you that aren't aware, the first birthday came and me and Sean had planned we were going to Vegas. So last week we travelled to Vegas for the Formula 1, and this is we Vegas Baby edition to give you an insight. But we were excited, so we come up with a plan.
and the plan was that our first flight from Dublin till Heathrow, London.
We would take a cup of tea in the lounge in the morning, and we would take no drink on the first flight. So we were flying Dublin to London Heathrow, and then we had to change terminal, and then Heathrow to Arizona.
Yeah. So on that flight, we thought, right, a few drinks, sort of 4 or 5 drinks, get a few hours past us, and then sleep and be ready for the go.
I had a little nap, and I'm ready for the go.
Right. So that was the plan.
Yeah. Executed.
Executed a bit too well.
Absolutely. Well, before we get into that, this is how I know things started going a wee bit south. We said that we wouldn't drink on the first flight, right? And we may get this in here now. We travelled business class, so we thought we were rock stars. Just so we're going to give you the insight.
It was very new for me, but you know, as yourself, a well-travelled
Rock star.
First class is just like, you know.
That's how I roll. Use peasants. And I'll come across a real wanker here. But anyway, we were going business class. And Sean, just to give you an example of how fucking, I would say tight but efficient this man is. This balloon used to have a weight, but Sean was like, well, I brought that weight in from home, so he cut it off the balloon and took the weight back with him.
Why would I go and buy another weight for a balloon?
You actually told me you were trying to figure out, could you get the helium out of this back into your can? But anyway, so turn nothing down but your collar. We jumped on to the first flight, and Sean was like, in these regional ones, I didn't realise there was actually a business class in this one. So they come round with this lunch. It was actually lovely. And he goes, geez, a wee glass of wine. Now, bear in mind, we were only supposed to be drinking tea at this point. This was about 11 o'clock in the day. We weren't going to start drinking until we were on the second flight around 1 o'clock. And the next thing I was like, well, a wee beer wouldn't do any harm. Like, just a wee beer. And I was like, the plan's slightly altered. It's not the plan.
But we were still sticking to it. It was just going to be like a wee glass of red. You had your wee beer.
And
that was it.
We arrived in Heathrow, and we had like an hour and a half before our flight took off. So we headed to the lounge, which you have to do because it's complimentary. We spent the hour and a half snapping it and videoing it because that's what you do. You have to let people know you were there, but not actually be there. No, I'm only joking. We took about 2 snaps and we got at it. Did you stick to tea there?
In the lounge? Well, I had one more drink.
The plan started altering slightly again. Then we get on the plane. And then the level, it was exciting. So you're getting on the plane, you're there.
You're a bit giddy.
Giddy.
To be fair, you're a giddy.
And then they're like, excuse me. Oh, sir, what would your post-takeoff flight drink be? And what would your meal drink be? And what would your post-meal drink be? So I hear Sean going, you know what, we're taking off. I'll just have a wee beer. I'm thinking, what would you like with that? Well, a wee glass of red wine wouldn't go down harm. Oh, no problem. I don't know, after the drink, maybe just a glass of wine. But that was it. And then next thing I seen Sean. So the woman comes over to me and she goes, what was yours? And I goes, before we take off, I'm going to take a vodka and Coke. After we take off, I'm going to take a vodka and Coke. And after the meal, I'm going to take a vodka and Coke. And Sean was like, are you in the halfins already? I'll take a Johnny Walker after mine. So it was okay. We were sipping away and I says, look, listen, I've this worked out. By the time we arrive in Vegas, the time we arrive in Arizona, we'll have had about 4 or 5 hours sleep, bit of a layover, and then we're into Vegas, and then we're out because the practice is starting as soon as we land. So this was the plan. So I was sticking to the plan, and then I started sipping away in the vodka, and I was like, right, for 60% of this flight, 6 hours, it's 10-hour flight, 6 hours, I'm going to sip away, just take it easy, watch a wee movie, and then I'll sleep the last 4 hours. So Sean was like, that sounds good, that's a plan, that's what we'll do. And the next thing was we were phoning home or snapping because there was Wi-Fi, so we thought we were class, and that's what we'll do, we'll start snapping, video calling, and then we got at it. And then we met one of the air hostesses.
No, they started treating us very well, right? So we had our food in us. We had a starter. There's a main course.
Oh, the lamb.
Lamb. It was lovely,
That's
right?
Unreal.
Right.
We sound like two wankers now, but anyway.
Right.
You have to imagine.
First class wankers.
You sponge it. This is like gravy on your plate. You go and get a last dab of bread and just soak it all up. So we were just taking it all. Anything, food, no bar, I'll have her. I'll tell you how bad it is. Every time Sean went to the toilet, he realised there was a basket there of complimentary Lindor chocolates. And every time he come back, he go, got you something. And he set another one down. So every time this man was going up to do a stretch, so Sean had it in his head that every hour he was going to stretch, he's going to squat, he's going to do this. Anyway, we met one of they were being nice to us. We met one of them air hostesses. And she was from Northern Ireland, but she's living in France now. And she was like, oh, boys, nice to meet you, chatting away, blah, blah, blah. Sean was telling her about him being a rock star and how big of a deal he is.
Is that really how that went down?
A wee bit.
I think you were shouting over going, yeah, what do you guys do? Podcast. While she was talking to me.
I could hear her talking to him.
Big deal.
And all I could hear was, the handsome stranger is what they call me.
I did not say that.
Well, if you had it, I'd have recorded that. But lovely woman, we're chatting away to her for ages. And then we continued on. And I said, fuck, Sean, because people are starting to sleep around us. And I was like, geez, I feel bad here. You know, where did they go? So instead of get one, in my mind, I was like, let's be clever about this. We'll get 2 drinks. So we're not torturing them. We're only torturing them half as much. Which is clever enough. Good math. And
there's a bit of a fault in that plan too. Because there was a lot of them 2s coming. 2 and 2 and 2 until the lovely lady come back down and come down again.
Why did you come to me? She must have
know,
thought I was the sensible of the 2.
She came over and she was like, so how are you getting on? And I was like, brilliant, hey, probably going to take a wee nap here shortly. And she was like, guys, yous are fine, but
we're going to cut you
just
off.
need to cool it on the drink.
We're going to cut
And I was
you
like, why? We're 100%. It's just, I know, they're all talking about you, how much drink you've had.
She comes to me.
Okay.
She comes to me. She pointed and she goes, your friend there's had 12 Johnny Walker. I goes, enough said, we're going to have a nap. Have any of us ever drank on a plane and woke up with the most unmerciful fucking headache? Oh my God, I had a hangover intensified by 5. And literally, I only slept about an hour and a half. You slept till we were there. I only slept about an hour and a half. Sean woke up and I go, Sean, you any painkillers? And I swear when I say this, I must have banged about 2,000 milligrams of paracetamol into me. And then your woman come down and she was like, oh, how are you guys? Grand, the head's a wee bit pounding. She was like, oh, I'll get you some water. I'm laughing. This is the woman who wouldn't give us any more drink, but she's way to get us a bottle of water. And then we get off and I go to Sean, what do we do now? we're going to be in Vegas shortly. So we do what we do. We headed down to the bar. To the bar.
Prior to the flight and my preparations before we left, I thought it'd be a good idea to recap on The Hangover. So that was my prep before we went to
What do you mean?
Vegas.
Oh, you watched?
Watched The Hangover.
Oh,
so that was
Jesus
my prep.
Christ.
I was like, right, going to Vegas, how do you get into the mood? How do you set the tone?
I had started
So
watching
I thought The Hangover was the one to watch.
Drive to Survive because I didn't want these people coming up and speaking to me about Formula One, and I wouldn't know. But what I wasn't aware of, I was too many seasons ago. Driver Sebastian Vettel, geez, he'll do well here, you know. He had retired the previous year, so like I'd completely ballsed it up anyway. But I had, and you ever see this when you go to the airport? And Sean is one of these. Everywhere I looked, new shoe wankers. They get a new pair of shoes and they save them till they go to the airport. All sitting there with the wee white shoes on, looking prime and pretty.
Whoa. Hold on a second. I had new trainers on. What were you wearing?
All right. I've said that right.
Did you or did you not have new trainers on?
But I've said that right.
Right.
I don't normally go with new shoes on.
On this
But
occasion.
on this occasion,
Yeah.
I thought,
Right.
I didn't want to look bad beside
Right.
you.
Uh-huh.
Because you'd sent me across. Sean's a big yours.
So you're
boys.
throwing this out.
Sean sends me over, you know, and by the way,
No, right.
none
How
of
many
this he
times
picks.
did you ask me, hey lad, what are you wearing on the flight? Hey, what are you wearing?
I didn't want to look bad because I like to go
Right,
cozy.
right. Aye.
I like to go comfy,
Uh-huh.
functional. And I was like, if this man rocks up with a shirt, jeans and all on, looking the part, and they're like, oh my God, he's brought his help with him. So that's why I was like, what are you wearing? I just wanted to look comfy. And then
But I was like, here, carry my bag, and you were happy with that?
But anyway, you do know, and any who's watching here now, you have a partner or you are that person. You are a new shoe wanker on the plane. Tag them. Because they're 100% you are.
And then if you're going to Turkey, it's even better.
No, I'll tell you the best one about Turkey. I got on a cruise last year, and it was actually this year, was it? Aye. And
There's been not many of them, you know.
Anyway, I got on this cruise, and the first day we're pulling out of Cittaviti, or whatever you call it, in Rome, and there's everybody in their Sports Direct, £18, three for £18 vests, the slips and all. And hey, I'm not knocking it because I'm there, right? But we pull into Turkey, and the same people that were walking around with their £3.18 come rolling past you, the Gucci sunglasses on, the Prada shorts, the what do you call it, the sliders and all, they are blinged out. Do you think they are the genuine deal?
I wouldn't think it.
So they go home with
Right.
their new shoes on the plane.
You're giving these poor people shit.
Right? I come out well, a lot of stuff out of it.
Right. Your wife arrived around to my house last week with a Hugo Boss t-shirt. Your wife came round to my house with a Hugo Boss t-shirt that was too small for you. I was like, I think this will fit you. I says, that's lovely, thank you very much.
Right, before everyone thinks I'm in my wardrobe was knock off, right? And my watches are probably all
Hold on,
knock off.
where did the t-shirt come from?
Right, it did. But we need to reverse here. There has to be a mistake that happened along the lines, right? And this is why you don't buy so many knockoffs. A t-shirt that I had bought for me in my size fucking fits him perfectly. And I was like, how does this work? There's something's happened, because I would have tried all the stuff on before I put it in, because I did not trust the sizing of Ali in the backstreet of Kusadasi. You know, when he goes, come on in here, you know, I've got something for you. I didn't 100% trust us, you know, a medium's a medium.
So thank you very much for my Hugo Boss t-shirt that you got from Turkey.
It's
Cheers,
boss
Pat.
spelt with one S. But anyway, back on to after. Fuck, you really made me look bad there, Sean. So you did. But anyway, fur coat, no knickers springs to mind. So we went to the bar in Arizona. We flew into Arizona, and then I was like, I'm not well, and I know we're going to go to practice. We've been on the go at this point for about 18, 19 hours. And I was like, right. And it's late at home, so we're not ringing home. So the next thing, I went straight into the bar. I says, "You woman, give me a beer. What size of beer you want? Give me a big one." So she come over and she sat down this big pint, and I was like, "Right." And I swear when I say I was bringing my mouth down to the glass instead of the glass up to my mouth because I was half shaking. And then she comes over to me halfway and she goes, "Oh man, I'm sorry. That was 20 ounces you ordered," and sat down like another half pint glass. I looked at Sean, I was, "I can't fucking drink any more beer. Can I get a vodka and Coke?" So that was all right. We got on the flight to Vegas and I literally woke myself up snoring. You know that there where you're like drifting off? And I was like, Jesus, I was looking around. I was like, wee drill check, just a wee rub on the chin just to save your drill. And then we hit Vegas hard.
Vegas, baby.
So I made this mistake, and I can tell you this now for a fact, it was a mistake. And I needed to be clear about this. It's normally Sean looking after me. It's always normally Sean looking after me. But I told Sean that my sister one time, this is the tale of two stories. I phoned one of my sisters one time. Both of them went to Vegas at the same time. And I asked, there was actually the three sisters were there. And I goes, "Well, how'd you get on?" And the older of the sisters turned around and goes, "Unreal, hey. They just walk around like at any time of the day and then they just be roaring, 'Vegas, baby!'" So I was telling Sean the story. And then I phoned my younger sister and she's like, "I was good, but Artisha, Jesus Christ, all she kept doing was going around roaring, 'Vegas, baby!'" So I started laughing. I was telling Sean the story. Arrive in Vegas, going to hotel, we check in. It sounds really bad. It actually sounds bad when we're given the explanation of how we went on. We went and got a wee beer and come with free shot of Fireball. Mm-hmm. And if any ever take Fireball, you don't want like cinnamon whiskey. Jesus, it burns, hey. But we headed up, we got ready, and we went out. And all I heard from Sean, "Vegas, baby!" The whole night. The whole night. And then we met your mates.
Aye, two lads from New York, firefighters. What do you call them again?
Wait till you hear this here. Right? We're walking along to the monorail, and all I can hear is Sean roaring from the other side of the monorail, "Vegas, baby!" So these two guys come over and goes, "Where are you from?" We're like, "Oh, we're Ireland." We're like, "Oh, yeah, we're from New York City."
Le Mans
and Reno. And they're big units, big black men. "Where are you from?" "No, what do you do?" "We're firemen." I says, "Your man's a fireman." And they're like, "What?" So them three got talking, and I am telling you this here now.
There was some lives saved.
Some lives were saved. That there wasn't a cat stuck in a tree. There wasn't a fire that couldn't be put out. Them three men there could save lives. I can tell you. I felt this big beside them. Oh, but Sean, I hope they were friends of ours, and they're probably following now, and so they're going to hear. But fuck it, boys, you did it. And, oh fuck, I hope they're not married. We went to the first thing I said was, "Come on, we get a pint, lads. We'll get a pint together." So Sean and his new best friends and I had been pushed out. I had nothing to share or talk to him about. We all went to the shittiest. We asked the policeman, "Where's the nearest bar?" They pointed us because the practice had stopped. So just in the middle of the whole thing,
it was cancelled.
It was cancelled because a fucking pothole, a manhole came up.
Cover, yeah.
The next thing was we went to this shitty dive bar. And I mean, I enjoy a dive bar, but this was just a shithole. This was the worst bar in Vegas. We went in and we're sitting there and we're getting a drink. And I seen these two black girls across the thing. And you know what? In this day and age, you're worried about saying someone's black, they're black, like. But you're worried about when you say something that... Anyway, these two big black units were sitting across our side of the bar. And the two boys started going, "Oh man, we're going over there and we're going to chat to these girls." And I was like, "Fair play, boys, we're married, we're on the beer." So the next thing that was all right. They come back and they're like, "No, you're taking the big one this time." And he goes, "You know I took the big one last time. You're taking the big one this time." And I'm just standing there laughing. And then the next thing he's like, I want to cancel out these girls' tabs. I'm going to pick up these drinks. So I was like, "Who the fuck are these girls?" So I went round the side and I had a look over. And I goes, "Them two are fucking hookers. Like, they're fucking hookers."
I don't like that word. I don't like that word.
Sean goes, "That's quite derogatory." I goes to him, "Well, what do you call someone that's looking paid for sex?"
Working girls.
Artists? He told me they were artists.
Hey, the price I heard they were charging?
Not them, but anyway, we'll get to that. The next thing I goes, "Here, lads, I don't think you need to work that fucking hard. I think you just need to pay them, right? He's like, no, man, they ain't working. And I was like, well, they look a wee bit. What do they do in this bar? Two of them sitting like that. I don't know. Not an expert in the situation, but I'm an expert now after a week in Vegas or a weekend in Vegas. So anyway, they go up, exchange numbers, and your blade said something kind of risque, graphic, very like direct what she wanted him to do.
Oh, right.
And I was like, yeah,
okay.
I'm you know what? I'm out with these Irish guys. I'm going to swing past your place later, and we're going to make that happen. So they exchanged numbers, and I was like, well, look, listen here, my bad. If that's what she said to you, that's what she said to you. I picked the vibe up. I picked it up wrong. I'd go and apologize to the girl, only I don't know her, and I wasn't talking to her, so I'll just leave it at that. They get a text message. Yeah, make sure to bring $200 each. I guess I'm fucking telling you. Sorry, an artist. But we need to go to somewhere nicer. Like, this is, I didn't come all the way to Vegas to drink in the dodgiest of dodgy shitholes. Like, there was some rare looking characters in there, including us. So we headed out that night, and up until we sent it kind of hard that night, didn't we? Every time we went to somewhere new, I'd be like, where the fuck has Sean gone? But you could literally pause for a few minutes, and you would hear him. All you'd hear from the other side of the room where the casino was, Vegas, baby! Well, I got Sean over there. But I went over at one point, Sean was talking to this old doll playing she was, you know the way at the bars you can actually play, like, Vegas is crazy. Everything's set up for gambling, like
Poker machine or something?
a poker machine. So she was playing away, and Sean like, yeah. Oh, we do.
I think she was from Texas. She was from Texas, and she was there for the F1 as well. And we were chatting. We're here for the F1 as well.
Sean and her were best mates. I need to paint the scene because she's probably following this too. This woman's in her 70s, right? Sean and her are the best of buds. He's been chatting shit to her for about an hour. I've been with the two black firemen heroes. They actually were a good crack.
Yeah.
Apparently they're coming over to see us. You could see them on the podcast. So we were like, right, yeah, you know, Sean come over to me and goes, geez, Owen, I think it's maybe time we went home. And I was like, what time is it? It's 5 o'clock. I says, oh, Jesus, right, we'll head back. So I was all right. Dander back through the casinos. But the important thing we missed out was when we first arrived, we didn't know where we were going. So we seen this woman, a taxi woman. So we waved her down. And she was in her 60s, wasn't she? And it was like, jumped in. She's like, hola. And we're like, hola, how you doing? Obviously, me being fluent in Spanish, I had her up with a bit of Spanish. She was Mexican. I was like, hola, Mogaba. How you keeping? So she was like, my name's Gina. And Sean was like, what? My ma's name's Gina. So Sean, at this instant, he loved this woman. You know, she's like, you're the same age as my ma. And, you know, where are we going to go? And she's like, you know what, guys? You're not going to get up. The strip's closed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look after you guys. I'm going to take you around. It's $25, but I'm just going to take you around. I'll take you up till New York, and you can get the monorail up, blah, blah, blah. We're like, Gina, you're a diamond. Halfway up, Gina proceeds to pull out not a phone, but a tablet. The size of that fucking thing. I was like, Sean, is she watching this as she's driving? So she pulls up and she was like, you want some good, clean girls? I was like, well, sorry, excuse me, this sweet little old lady. What? You want some girls? Very clean. And there she is swiping on her iPad pictures of naked women. I was like, we're literally only in Vegas, right? So I goes there.
But it was everywhere.
But she drove us to New York, because apparently you can get the monorail in the hotel next to it. That was okay. It was only the next morning. We had got home, right? We got this monorail back. We got home, went out the next morning, walked round the corner of our hotel, looked up, and there's New York. Fuck you, Gina, you robbing bastard. She drove out round this back place. We were in the car for about 20 minutes.
Yeah. Charged
us $25. The fucking hotel was literally across a bridge and into it. And I was like, I've cursed a lot in this one because we try and, on most of our like serious ones we don't, but just to let you know, Sweet old Gina, same name as Sean's mother and the same age as a Robin Isle bastard with dirty old pictures on her iPad. She rubbed us, and I looked at Sean and I was like, "Hey, Vegas, crazy old spot, hey, crazy old spot. We'll go and get a bite of breakfast."
And that was only the first night.
Oh, as day one.
Day one.
This is. Do you ever see like Hall Pass? Day one.
So day 2 didn't start off too bad. We went and got a feed. We actually went to the Williams stand.
We got the feed. Well, tell me about the feed, Sean.
Good feed, shepherd's pie.
We hadn't at now. We done non-stop eating on the plane when it was free. I hadn't at when we arrived in Vegas.
So this shepherd's pie came in a bean tin. It's the only way to describe it, a metal bean tin, right? So
but tell him, Sean had told me this story about home fries, and he hadn't shut up about home fries. And I says to him, the only thing I want to get when I'm out here is chicken wings. They do mean chicken wings here.
So the two things was the chicken wings and the home fries. Did you get any chicken wings?
No. Did you get any home fries?
No.
We went into the 9 Fine Irishmen. Like, this is a typical stupid Irish thing to do. You go and you find the Irish bar and you go to it. Like, you don't try and find anything else. So we went in there for a feed. Sean was like, any home fries? No, that's on the weekend. I was like, what? I don't even know what day it is. It must have been Friday morning. So she goes to him, oh yeah, would you like some cheese on the top of that? He's like, oh, I just stick some cheese on that. I went for my buffalo chicken. And I don't know why, after all the rich food and all the beer and vodka and coke, the next day I decided that for my insides, a buffalo hot and spicy chicken
with
with
for 3
spicy slaw.
days in a row, you ate nothing, only chicken and buffalo sauce.
I like it.
I could see that.
Maybe
You didn't eat much of it.
maybe not the most appropriate thing to eat on that. But anyway, how much was Sean's shepherd's pie? $44 for a shepherd's pie.
Worth every penny.
You had it. Now,
every penny.
this is the guy that takes the paperweight home. You had to seen his face, and he goes,
Couldn't believe it.
"The rotten bastard." You know the way she asked me for cheese? I goes, I was an hour $4. But anyway, that was the start of our day, and we headed up to the Williams hospitality thing. And somehow Sean got chatting till one of the PRs and got us, started getting us a drink, which was free. But that was a bad mistake. That was 12 o'clock in the day. And Sean was like, you know what? We'll keep it between the hedges. We'll head to the races tonight and soak up some of the atmosphere. Our ticket was a 3-day ticket for where we were in the stand, and because of the night before, the cars did get going again at 3 o'clock in the morning, but we actually
Seen bits of it. Aye, just from the street.
Jesus, when you're watching them, if you're not in the stand or you're not where we were in the end up, when you say you see bits of it, there's a reason why there are massive distinct colour difference in each of the car. Like, you don't have like 2 light blue cars or 2, you have a red and you have a thing. There's a reason for that, because it's a blur of colour that goes past you. The speed is absolutely, the noise unbelievable, but the speed is so hard they actually become a blur. Like, you don't see, you just see like a blur of colour. So that's why they must be so distinctively different, so that orange is them or blue is them. But anyway, we decided that would be the plan. But the Williams crack was good. The PR,
A few guests were there.
They got us some passes. The beers were flowing. We were on cloud 9. We were about 4 hours sleep in about 2 days. And then
Jensen was there as well.
Jensen Button rocks up. But I need to tell you this one. So we're in good form, right? We're having the crack. But before Jensen Button comes along, we're sitting there in the stand, sitting there, and there's like an area where it's cordoned off, and we're inside it, and then all I can hear is, Sean, there's my friend Sean over there. The Eldol from the night before. Sean's best buddy's hugging her. This is my husband, and this is my friend, and this is her husband, and we're from Texas. And I'm over there shaking hands and all. And I wasn't talking to them. So the next thing they're like, oh yeah, these two guys, they have a podcast together. Their podcast is a year old, so they're out here, they're celebrating this. And he's married, he's got 2 children, he's married. And I was like, how long were you chatting to this woman last night, Sean? But we were having a crack with him. And then the next thing, Jensen Button rocks up. Now, for any of you that don't follow Formula One, and not a big massive Formula One people like me and Sean, Jensen Button is a world champion Formula One driver, and that's all right. At the start, it was a big crowd, and everyone was there, and we were in this like area where you were getting free drink taken to you, and we were sitting drinking away, having the crack. And the next thing is, all I hear is, so Jensen Button's freed up, and I can just hear Sean having a word, just chatting, just like to your man down the road, just having a chat. Aye, well, you know, Formula One's all well and good, but he's got his phone in his hand. Formula One's all well and good, you know, but you're driving around a track and it's the same corner each time. Like, could you do it on a Friday night in a forest, in the rain, in a rally car? And he's showing him, me and him in the bushwhacker. But
telling him about the rallying experience. That's what it was. I was just telling him about it. I was.
Like we adapted.
And then I got into my go-karting career as well. I was telling him a wee bit about my go-karting career.
You go-karting?
Oh, aye, never beat. Number one.
The one time you went go-karting?
Ah, come on now. 10 times.
But so that was day 2. Well, it wasn't really the end of day 2. So I had to look after Sean the night before.
No. Right. I thought you were going to skip past day 2.
Sean being...
And there was no looking after me the day before.
The Sean being the... Well, no, I didn't actually...
Right.
But Sean being the more sensible one normally wasn't the more sensible one day 1. But day 2, Sean says, you know what?
So this was about 6-ish.
It
was about 6-ish.
Was it? I don't know.
On day 2. 100%. 6-ish. Day 2. And I thought to myself, right, this ain't going to last. The qualifying's the night of 10. I want to see the racing. I'm going to go back for a bit of a sleep. You coming? No, I'm good. Staying out. This is Owen's plan.
There's a couple of mistakes in my plan, and this is a very fundamental moment where I should have knew that it would be better at this point to go back and lie down, but the crack was 90, and it fell in with a couple of newer guys, and Sean,
so I went home for a wee nap.
Yeah.
Phone call about 9-ish.
Did you get one phone call, or
there
did you?
About 60.
I think I phoned
60
you
phone calls.
43 times.
Yeah.
I was like, he's not coming back out. He's fucking left me.
So got up, got a shower. Where are you at? Cosmopolitan, I think it was.
Cosmopolitan.
So I head off to the Cosmopolitan to find Owen, and couldn't find you nowhere. Could not find you anywhere. This was at 10 o'clock at night. The racing was starting at 10. So couldn't find you anywhere. Phoning. Couldn't get through to your phone. So I sat down, and it was actually these other 3 Americans were sitting. So I just started chatting away to them. Next thing I look around, Owen sits down on the table behind me with his new mates. So I was like, I'm just going to let this unfold here. Let's see how this unfolds here. So I kept watching him. And he was chatting away to the mates and kept looking at his phone, looking at the phone. And they were like, he's not coming out. And all of a sudden he clocked me and he's like, I told you to be out. Right?
He wouldn't let me down.
But in my head, we were going to go and see the qualifying that night. In your head,
we had qualified.
Qualified.
we had qualified for a night out.
And you were ready for bed.
Oh, bollocks. But you know, in between this time, right? And it was only because the photos, and then Sean asked me about it the next day. I was on my way in to Cosmopolitan, and as I pulled the door open, there was Chris Eubank Jr.
Oh, your good mate Chris, that's right.
Hey, we're besties now. So, in my wisdom at this point, I was like, this guy needs some advice on his career, and he needs just my wisdom bestowed upon him. So then we walk in, and I'm like, Chris Eubank, can I get a picture with you? Oh, yeah, no bother. And he was actually, you know what? He comes across like kind of arrogant and all, and like conceited and all, but actually was really nice, down there, was on his own, he was chatting away. But I didn't take any of this on board. I just went full side roads, whoop, arm around the fucking headlock job. Come on over here and have a chat with you, but you know what? Your career just hasn't fucking clicked yet, right? like this Nigel Benn carry on. Like, do you think you beat him? He's flying around, and then I'm like, what about your dad, Chris? How is he? Geez, he wasn't good either. I seen a video of him. He was completely off the rails ever since the loss, isn't it? Like now, I am full on bollocks at this point. I have taken this man is out for a gentle stroll around Vegas, and he's now in a headlock, which I'm sure he's about to knock the dung out of me.
Getting career advice.
Tell him that
Pearls of wisdom.
Tell him I hadn't missed one of his fights. Didn't tell him I hadn't missed him on TV. But I had, so I proceeded to, and he was like, oh, you Irish guys are crazy. He was like, I was out with Conor. Fuck Conor McGregor. I was over here to see him in Vegas, and he didn't show up that. Fuck Conor McGregor, man. He's nothing to me. And I just remember afterwards, right? So then some of the people didn't know who he was, but then when I was swinging around the headlock, I was like, this is Chris Eubank Jr. You know, over get a picture. I'm now promoting him for a picture. So I was like, Jesus Christ. I actually think I like posted a thing on things saying he didn't want to smoke. When I was thinking to myself, if he seen that, he'd be like, oh my God, that fucking head case.
Hey, you met somebody else famous though, that night?
Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, Floyd, yeah.
Wanker. I'll be told no different.
You did a photo?
No.
Photo of him, huh?
I got you give us the fingers. He doesn't. We'll hear this here. His security, if he's there, they're like, no photos. So if you take a photo of the thing.
Who was the photo you had then on your phone?
What do you mean? Look, let me explain for Sean. I'm following up the story.
You showed me a photo the next day.
So this is real Floyd Mayweather with the TMT, the money team around him, security, massive. And the problem, I was thinking about for Floyd Mayweather. He has the biggest fucking security team. These are big, enormous men, and they make him look like they're guarding a toddler. So take the photo from afar, and they're trying to snap the fucking phone off you, and you're like, "Fuck off!" And I don't know why you're telling these big security men to get on, because like just go like that and you'd be fucking dead. But anyway, later on in that bar, before you had came, I was like, Sean, Floyd Mayweather's here. He's actually dead on. He's like, where? And I was like, he's sitting there. He's like, that's not Floyd Mayweather. I was like, it is. I got a picture of him. And I was like, Floyd, the career you have, man, unreal. Jesus, fight with Manny Pacquiao. Just thinking back on it, I wonder who this boy is. Like he had security team, and there was people coming up for photos. So I wonder who he could be. A footballer, he could be a rapper, he had chains, like he was dripping. But I just wonder, him and Chris Eubank have walked away going, that is one drunken dickhead, eh? So that was day two.
Day two,
right,
done.
Well, Sean took me home.
Sean,
Sean,
did you get home?
Sean, that's all the conversation we're going to have. We had a few incidents on the way home. Nothing major. A bit of buffalo chicken, 100%. Day two, done.
You were on my shoulder. One hand and shoulder, eyes closed. You slept the whole way home. Literally slept the whole way home.
I was tired and I relaxed my eyes. You were my guide dog. Stopped at the road crossing.
Jesus.
Time to go.
We've been in Vegas for 2 days.
Yeah.
To see the Formula One.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen no Formula One.
Not a car. Well, I've seen cars.
So day 3 has to be better.
Day 3, 100%. The race is day 3. So we set about a new plan. And we were like, we'll keep this between the hedges. We won. Where do we go in the morning?
Oh, the Vegas sign.
Vegas sign.
We went out to the Vegas sign. And then we got in a bus that dropped us off in the asshole nowhere. Literally.
This always happens to me and Sean. We went out to the Vegas sign in the morning, which is not actually that far from our hotel. We got a taxi down to it. And it was $12 or $13. And we jump on a bus. We're like, oh, there's the bus going to the strip show. We'll just get the bus, right? Which is the same price just to get a taxi back. And halfway around, I was like, Jesus, we're on a motorway now. Like, our hotel was in the bottom of the strip. What are we doing on a motorway? And then we end up in that up on the other side, like Fremont.
Fremont. Aye, down in Fremont or whatever it was.
I was like, what's the crack here? And he goes, oh, no, the strip's closed, so we're just taking people straight up to Fremont. And I was like, we're about fucking 2 mile away now. 3 mile away from where we need to be. So we went into one of the hotels there, up Sahara or something, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Then the Sahara, and then we had a drink and a bit of buffalo chicken.
Again.
At least I had mine.
Well, half the burger.
Headed down for a nap, a wee pre-race nap. And I know you might think this, right? But I think that was the worst thing we done.
Went for a sleep.
Aye.
You couldn't have lasted that night.
True.
The race was at 10.
Aye.
And we went home at 6 that morning.
Yeah.
There was no way we were doing it.
But then we went out to the grandstand then. So we got to sleep, got up, got fresh, got sharpened up. And we headed out. And I looked at Sean and I goes, geez, I thought I had the tickets saved in my phone. Have you them saved in your phone? And he just looked at me with the dirtiest look that, without even saying anything, is in, you better have the fucking tickets on your phone. So I said, we'll head into this hotel and we'll get a drink or two first before we head up. Now, the only thing we haven't discussed is everywhere I went in Vegas, I am not joking you, every hotel I went in Vegas, these girls were coming up to you. Sean, right, the first night we're out, Sean's sitting chatting to this owl doll, and there I am standing with these two black boys, and this girl comes up to me, and I'm not joking when I say, like a model, like an absolute model, comes up, goes, hey darling. I looked around, and do you ever see Jack Reacher? I can't afford you. And she goes, oh, I'm sure you can afford me. And I goes, no, you don't understand. I can't afford you. I says, away you go. Well, do you just want to buy me a drink, a little glass of champagne? I go, would you get the fuck, would you? Right? And I was like, Jesus Christ. She was unreal. Like, she was a beautiful girl. And I was like, anyway, this must have happened how many times? Mm-hmm. And I mean, I actually asked the barman then when we went out to the racetrack. We were in the Virgin Hotel, and I thought Virgin Hotel was going to be shite. It was a cool spot, wasn't it?
Spot, aye.
So I goes to man, what's the crack there? And he goes, you got a wedding ring on, you're well dressed, you've got a Rolex on, you're prime real estate. They're after you. And I was like, what? And he's like, these girls flew in here. And I was like, what do you mean they flew in? He goes, these are escorts from all around the States, and they come here, they make 30 grand a weekend. And I was like, what the I'd nearly fly to Vegas to make 30 grand a weekend, but they come and they're like, he was like, yeah, they're like $5,000, $10,000 a night. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, look over there. And he literally pointed to over where that wee car was, and there was 20, and it looks like a group of models, 20 of them standing there, and it's and you just it's a CD as fuck.
Oh, so seedy.
When you see through the veil of what's happening, and you see it, and you just see the guys coming up, like they're sitting in their t-shirt and their jogging bottoms, they're sitting playing poker all day, and then the next thing they just walk up and they're like, it must be like back at PE when you're being picked for a team. You hate to be the last one being picked out, but they're like you, and then the next thing away arm in arm to the cash machine, and then away, and I was like, fucking hell, eye opener that shit was. But the race itself,
oh, unreal.
Our seats were
There was some atmosphere.
right at the stand. So we said we were a bit groggy, so we had a few drinks down in the Virgin. Sean, tell them about our nice meal and what we were going to do before we went.
We're going to go to Teo.
We're going to go to Teo.
Nice meal.
We nearly booked it online, and you had to prepay and everything to go to it. And then he looked at me, and thank God he said it. Hey, he was on a big fee to be wasted on me right now, and I was, oh, thank God, hey, him and bits. So we went to a pizza joint and took a pizza slice.
Great pizza.
It took me 25 minutes to try and eat this slice of pizza. And then I says, we need a few drinks to get this thing livened up. Went to the bar, headed up into the stadium. And then there was so much happening in the stadium. Mm-hmm. There was like a big stage. So we were actually in the East Harmon stand. We were
on the start-finish line.
On the start-finish line where the pits were, so where they were pitting as well. So we were on the start-finish line. And we had actually deadly seats. But this was the first time we were in our seats in the 3-day race pass. And it was the race day. Mm-hmm. But we went out to the live, and you went round. There was cool things, and then we were like, right, we'll go and get a drink, and we'll get our burns, and then there was a simulator.
You got some hammering, kid. Hey, Billy Big Balls here, right? He was like, come on, we'll go in the simulator. And I was like, no bother. Number one.
Guys.
How many was on? It must have been at least 13, 15.
There was 15.
15.
Now I'm going to tell you.
And I came first out of 15. Get in, son.
I'm going to tell you
What?
exactly how this went, right?
No. Don't you tell your story a different way than mine,
I'm not
because
going
I'm
to
telling the
Sean,
truth.
I videoed the end of it. And I'm
There's
gonna
no
put it,
videos.
I'm going to put it actually in the end. I did 100% videoed it. And I'm going
How
to
could you video?
Because it
I had
comes up on the
finished.
screen.
I had finished first, and then I looked over, and you were still racing. I was like, "How's he not finished? He must be a lap behind me."
So we started the simulator, and Sean being Sean, it is a realistic simulator. So if you absolutely nail it and don't break, you are off. You're just gone. It just goes side road straight away. You have to squeeze the throttle, brake, squeeze, brake. Anyway, Sean went off like a bat out of hell and put it straight into a fence and got lifted out, and I was gone, and it kept coming up my screen, fastest lap, and I kept going, fastest lap, baby, over the Vegas baby kid. So that was all right, but there must have been that boy in the end was serious about it, Sean.
Well, it's funny you say that. Yours kept flashing fastest lap. Mine kept on coming up air. So there must be something wrong with mine. Like, I think
There was an error with the car because you kept fucking crashing it.
No. I think there must have been a wee fault.
So I obviously, and then we put this up as a poll, and Sean won the poll, and Aidan, fuck you too.
Hey,
You voted for Sean.
people know.
Sean,
People
I put
know.
up the poll, the picture of me and Sean in the simulator. Who do you think won? And he was like 70% of the vote. There was actually like 200, 300 people have voted for Sean. See the 30%? Correct. Fastest man, fastest lap.
What a liar.
Beat some Spanish prick
hey.
that hadn't got off it. He hadn't got off it.
Unless there's proof.
You what?
People you know.
So I took home the victory, took home the fastest lap, but that was standard enough, obviously, being the better pilot. So there you go. And that was that. That was wrapped up. We met Simon from the F1 team, and I gave him a rundown. I'm sure he didn't want to know this. We met our friend from the professional bull riding too.
That's right.
So our next adventure is over to one of the events in the PBR, and for you that don't know what the PBR is the professional bull riding. And it's a $5 million bull rider. So we met the CEO of PBR, and that was good crack. And it was good. It was good.
It was good.
Not as chirpy coming home.
Yeah.
Definitely not as chirpy coming home.
Because we had the plan, and it was executed too hard.
You ever see that video where he goes, fuck it, I sounded too hard? Well, I think in the grand scheme of things, there was a few errors on my behalf. Maybe should have went home there. Maybe should have went home there earlier. Maybe should have laid down there earlier. There was maybe should have had food. That would have been a start. But it was class, and what a way to celebrate a year with the podcast and to get out and just the two of us. But I'll tell you one thing. That's the longest away from the kids and the wife. John, make sure you say the wife too. And you'd be just...
Oh, I couldn't wait to get home.
You'd be just waiting to see their wee face. And now I come in late. And then I was like, I must just go in we kiss here and thing. What are you doing racking around the rooms and them sleeping? But it was a long journey home. Missed a flight. But we put Apple tags. Oh, this was a smarter move, guys. Obviously, I've seen this online, but I put Apple tags in me and Sean's and labelled them. And we were standing in Dublin because we had missed our connection flight from Heathrow to Dublin. So we got the next one, and then we were standing in Dublin, and mine too came out.
And then the carousel stopped.
And it stopped, and I was like, instead of waiting for an hour run around hooking it, I said, let me just check the Apple tag. Sean's bag still in London.
Terminal 5.
Still there. Sean was
But at least we knew.
Aye, so we didn't wait. We just filled out the form, away we went. And then the next thing was, while we were coming into Cookstown, his bag had landed in Dublin. It had came in. They had sent it on the next flight. So them Apple tags are cool. You can just track your luggage. But it definitely was good to get home. But on a recap, Sean, now we've given a very detailed run of it. Just to let you know, this to paint the scene, it sounds 2 Hallions. Just to paint the scene.
1 Hallion.
2.
1 Hallion.
Sean, look, you've detailed pretty much me, and do you need me to say how many times I say, Sean, can you dial her back in the middle of the hotel?
No,
on the first night?
Look.
Do you want
My
do,
excitement?
Do you want me to
my excitement wasn't being a Hallion.
Do you want
I was
me
just
to tell?
excited to get to Vegas. Excitement.
Vegas, baby. Anyway, I need you to understand that we actually aren't normally that Hallions. It's probably just this is the first time since we were 18, 19 that me and Sean headed off together again. And we just thought we were cubs for a couple of days and racked around. And I'll tell you this, and I'll tell you no more. I ain't fit for that shit. If it hadn't been for Imodium, blue shorts would have been risky. That's all I'm telling you. That buffalo chicken and drink and rich food, Imodium.
It burnt on the way in.
100%. I would.
It burnt the way out.
I didn't trust a fart for 2 days, but it was good crack. And so to recap, we're a year now. A couple of the recent pods went out. More recently was last week was Owen Collins, the gambling, and then the week before Glenn's kicked up. So I have to ask you this, Sean, while we're on here, and we'll put this up to you as a thing, guys. When we put somebody on the podcast or we invite somebody on the podcast, that isn't because the message that they have is what we want to put out there. But we have actually come in for quite a bit of shit. Because even though, right, and people, the most of the people that give shit were ones that haven't watched it, and that's fine. We've actually come to realise that you watch a clip, you think you know everything about the podcast we've done, and you feel that you're in the position then to comment and be quite actually hateful in the comments, but I don't really go on. I actually go on too much about haters, but I mean this in a way because I want to ask people this. Should we only bring on to the show and provide a platform for opinions that we share?
Yeah.
Is that not censorship? Is that not the very definition of what's going wrong with everything now? Social media, all the TV, the news, everything you see now is all propaganda of what anybody wants to project their message. So people are like, oh, you brought them on, that's bigotry, and you shouldn't be sharing that message, that's hurtful. Listen, we very clearly stated that we had and absolutely disagreed fully on that we did not agree with that. But if you start picking the messages you want, we're as bad as all the other platforms and all the other things. The podcast is the last stand in having a bit of free speech. I didn't agree with that man. I had a lot of respect for that man because he came on and said, and here, you know what? I didn't agree with him. I 100% didn't agree with him. I don't that shit sometimes they're talking about. But at least he has some conviction. People nowadays don't have any beliefs in anything, and they're not resolute in anything they do. Like if you showed them one TikTok about the vinegar. Oh Jesus, vinegar's bad. They're around town 30 people. Oh, you shouldn't take vinegar now. And then in our TikToks thing, they're so easily swayed. At least some people actually have that conviction and stuff that they're saying. Now I think it's a pile of shite. Some of it, just to be quite frank. But I had a lot of deal of respect for him because of his conviction, his belief, and the fact that he came on. Some of it I feel was very bigotry, but it was a nice guy, but it doesn't cover what was actually said.
Yeah, if we targeted more on the RSC itself.
Yeah, but the problem was when we got to the root of that, a lot of that was back to religious beliefs and things, and there's probably a deeper rooted issue. People are like, oh, you didn't say about what it's doing now and here and there. No, we can only say facts and stuff. We start spreading information that we're not fully aware of. But like, I'll ask you this here. We'll put this up as a poll. Should we only share the opinions on our platform that we agree with? Is that not censorship? Is that not controlled? And it can be misinformation. Because if we believe something that's not right and we put it out there and we don't allow anyone to challenge that, and we don't allow anyone their other views, and we shout down or close off anything that we don't believe, what happens if we're wrong and we're only sharing things that's wrong? That's what's wrong with the world. People are afraid to stand up now and stand back to people and say, shut up. It's the minority that's dictating the majority now. it's the tail wagging the dog now. Like, the majority of people have to make concessions for the minority of people. And that's where it's all going wrong. So, there you go. Very philosophical of me. Philosophical.
You needed to get that off your chest, didn't you?
I felt like I did.
Yeah, you were going into one there.
I went off on the tangent. But
just dial it back there.
But there you go, guys. I'm putting it out there. And then we had Owen Collins. Owen, look, there's no easy way to go from it. What he done was completely wrong. But the man wasn't well. Mm-hmm. The one thing that I don't think people understand about addiction is the illness that it is. It makes you do he literally said, there isn't a lie I haven't told. There isn't a person I haven't lied to. There's nothing you can tell me. And he says, like, gambling and depression's linked hand in hand. And I think he was right. But it takes some balls, and I'm telling you now, a lot of you can say whatever you want. Some of you want, a lot of you did, a lot of you offered very kind words and support. It takes some balls to come on here and say, I stole that from a charity. I paid everything back. He paid it all back. We know he did. But it takes some balls to think. And look, guys, he ain't selling anything. I always say to Sean, we and him were discussing, what is the motivating factor for people wanting to come on here? Are they self-promoting because they're selling something, they have something to sell, or they offer a service, so they need to be out there? Or do you have the likes of a Denise, a victim of assault, that it doesn't further them to come on, but they want to raise awareness on the campaign? It's a purely selfless motivation. He doesn't have a reason other than to help people that's locked in that addiction. Mm-hmm. So you may have people may have things they want to say about what he done. He's the first to have said it. But it takes some bottle to turn around and say, I done that. That's who I was, but that's not who I am now. And, it's easy for people on all these platforms to make their comments on that. But I think how many of them could do what he did? Own it and stand up. I'm not condoning what he did, but I do believe people need a second chance. And I think that he is we've had a lot of people on here that have had addictions and spoke about things they've done and they're not proud of. But I think a lot of people did see it in him and thankfully they come across. But we have a couple upcoming, Sean. We have Deirdre's. Mm-hmm. Deirdre's. Oh, I had a good laugh with Deirdre.
It was a good crack.
I keep laughing about when she goes, and I went on that date. And I had a date. And then we have Thea's.
Mm-hmm. Thea's coming up as well.
That one's...
Stay tuned.
Batshit. It was a crazy fucking situation. Pregnant, doing OnlyFans, being homeless. There's a lot, even in what I said, there's a lot in that podcast. And then who else have we got? We have Peter Mitchell. Mm-hmm. Peter, absolutely. Peter's story, while being heartbreaking, you get this from Peter. You don't feel sorry, and obviously you feel sorry for what happened because he was a professional footballer and he had his career all in front of him, and he was a nasty character. But when with the inspiration and the way he speaks, he's such a happy, proud guy, and the things he's gone on to do and will do, it just makes you think. Anybody that's in that adversity, I'd love them to watch that to just realize that this isn't the end. Like, that is not the end. That he very clearly was like, this is the start of my life, and where my life went wouldn't have been that way without what happened. So he's embraced it, and I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be that strong of a person. I'd probably be filled with hate and anger and thing, but unreal. So, and then we've got a couple. I don't think Jansen's going to do the podcast, Sean.
Oh no, he was texting me this morning.
And Chris Eubank Jr. him and Senior may not be on.
Has he not got back to you?
He didn't accept my tag.
Jesus.
I thought we were tight. I thought we were like that. You know what? I hope fucking Nigel Ben boxed the head of you. Only he's a fucking drugs cheat, so fuck him. But anyway, Conor Ben, Nigel Ben. Where am I at? That's what they should do. That's the way boxing's going now. It should have a father and son, be a father and son. It'd be like an old school day back in Kilfrankie. I'm going to get my daddy. But no, look, listen, that was the Vegas recap. That's an insight. Normally me and Sean sitting here being sincere and talking about these big deep things, and then we're just talking about being absolutely bomb scared through Vegas, baby.
Well, you offloaded there anyway.
Got a wee bit off my chest. Anything you want to
Did you enjoy that?
You know what, Sean? It's very uplifting. I feel light as a feather.
Feel good.
What about you? Have you anything you would like to get off your chest? Do you want to put it out there?
No.
A shout out to your fireman friends.
Which ones?
Your big heroes in New York.
Oh, the New Yorkers are the ones at home.
Sean was like,
Going to the dogs in a couple of weeks, the lads.
The dogs. Oh,
well, it'll be class now.
It's funny that he's kind of excited. Aidan, what was he like when he brought up the dogs the day we got back? Oh my God. I actually thought he was going to cry with the idea. But it's funny how the days go on. He's like, oh boy, you know what?
But I'm going to keep it between the
Drumbo, baby. Look, guys, it's the run up to Christmas. We're going to have a couple of Christmas themed. We're going to have a few giveaways. We're going to have a bit of crack. The one thing
we're going to be out and about.
We are going to be out and about in Belfast, a couple of our shopping centres. One thing I would say, and a lot of the stuff we've covered is mental health and stuff like that there, and I always used to be very dismissive of this. This is a very, very poignant time of the year for some people to protect their mental health and to look after themselves, put in some practices, keep an eye on HR and check in with people, because this time of the year is we're all getting buzzed and we're talking about going to Drumbo and we're talking about doing this here. Some people are literally eyeballs of debt, depths of depression, lonely, self-reflecting on things that have happened this time of year. So just have a wee check in with them. What I have grown. Look at me trying to look at. You know what? I'm like every hour wanker on social media, but I'm actually not trying to do this for myself.
Hold on a second.
But you know them PTs are out there and they're like, I want you to protect yourself. But all joking aside,
this story has went from drinking the head of yourself, hookers, and what else? Now you're giving advice.
Advice?
You know,
I am a seasoned man, a travelled man. Do as I say and not as I did. Do as I say and not as I did. But one thing, shamelessly, I want to put in here in the middle of it, and I'll probably get this edited out and put it in the middle. Guys, we're 1 year going. It's important for us that you keep subscribing, you keep following along, you keep liking, sharing a post, interacting with us. It's good crack, but the more we can get out there, the better it'll be for us. But I do want to finish up on what I was saying. It is an important time of the year, and I do genuinely mean that we do rush head on into this thinking this is great and this is jolly, but it's not great and it's not jolly for everyone. So have a check in with people you might think, geez, I haven't heard of or I haven't spoke to in a while, and give them a shout. And when you call in with them, you say, geez, have you listened to the Bear and Scully podcast? Get on it.
good luck.